Okay, good morning, folks, and welcome back to day 42 of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. So, yesterday, your homework was to look at this chart, jot it down if you don't have a copy of it in your notes, and to put a number in each column um, by the word that describes you best. So you put a 4 by the word that describes you the best, you put a 3 by the word that describes you the second best, and then you follow that with 2 and 1, obviously. Okay, so I already know what I am because I wrote mine down, and I can't edit this, unfortunately, to show you, but just hang in there with me. So if I'm going to look at these words here, because I'm deciding which one is most like me: imaginative, investigative, realistic, or analytical, I'm going to start with the number 4 and put it in the column that I think is most like me. And here it's difficult because mine is really, really, really close between imaginative and investigative. And I know analytical would be 1, realistic would probably be 2, but I don't know if I'm a 3 here and a 4 here, or if I'm a 4 here and a 3 here. So that was the hardest for me. So let's think about what imaginative is. Imaginative means that you can create things from your imagination. And investigative means that you hear things or you want to know things and you get to the bottom of it. Let's see. I think for me personally, I'm going to go 3 here and 4 here. And then basically all of the rest of these, with the exception of a couple, are column 2. Realistic and analytical are off over here in La La Land for me, but I am definitely somewhere between a column 1 and a column 2. So let's see. Let's move on and see what that means for me and what that means for you. So if we add up our totals for each column and place the number in the blanks below, let's see. Let's see. Oh my gracious. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so literally, how many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Like literally, I'm 7 and 7. So I'm column 1 and 2. And I don't see where there's any changes that I can make that will change that. So let's take a look. Okay. So my 4s, I would actually be a grape and an orange is what I am, because I would have 7 here, and then, or well, what 7 times 4, whatever that number is. And then, yeah, so I'm a grape and an orange. So if your high score was in column 1, you're considered a grape, and column 2 is considered an orange, column 3 is a banana, and column 4 is a melon. Now find your fruit below and review what this may mean to you. So I'm a grape. My natural abilities include being reflective, being sensitive, being flexible, being creative, and a preference for working in groups. Grapes learn best when they can work and share with others, balance work with play, can communicate. Oh, stinker butt, come back here. And are non competitive. I don't know if that really fits me or not. Grapes may have trouble giving exact answers, focusing on one thing at a time, organizing. Now, that to a T fits me. To expand their style, grapes need to pay more attention to details, not rush into things, and be less emotional when making some decisions. Okay, now let's look at orange. Natural abilities include experimenting, being independent, being curious, creating different approaches, and creating change. Oranges can learn best when they can use trial and error, produce real products, can compete, and are self directed. Oranges may have trouble meeting time limits, following a lecture, having few options or choices. To expand their style, oranges need to delegate responsibility, be more accepting of others' ideas, and learn to prioritize. Oof, those two things might have been a little humbling. Okay, if most of your numbers were in the banana category, so column 3, your natural abilities include planning, fact finding, organizing, following directions. Bananas learn best when they have an orderly environment, have specific outcomes, can trust others to do their part, and have predictable situations. Bananas may have trouble understanding feelings, dealing with opposition, and answering what if questions. To expand their style, bananas need to express their own feelings more, get explanations of others' views, and be less rigid. And last but not least, column 4 is melons. Natural abilities include debating points of view, finding solutions, analyzing ideas, determining values or importance. Melons learn best when they have access to resources, can work independently, are respected for intellectual ability, and follow traditional methods. Melons may have trouble working in groups, being criticized, and convincing others diplomatically. To expand their style, melons need to accept imperfection, consider all alternatives, and consider others' feelings. So, celebrate your own diversity. Our tendency is to ask which fruit is best. The answer is that's a dumb question. I have 3 brothers. We have some stuff in common, like nose size and parents, but we're very different. When I was younger, I was always trying to prove to myself that my talents were better than theirs. So, what if you're more outgoing than me? I've always been better at school than you, and that's more important anyways. I've seen I, I've since seen the stupidity of that kind of thinking, and I'm still learning to appreciate the fact that my brothers have their strengths and I have mine. No one's better or worse, only different. That's why you shouldn't feel so bad if a member of the opposite sex whom you're just dying to go out with doesn't go for you. You may be the most luscious and mouth-watering grape around, but he or she may be looking for an orange. And no matter how much you want to change a fruit, you're a grape and they want an orange. But don't worry, a grape seeker is bound to drop by. It all balances out. Instead of trying to blend in and be like everyone else, be proud of and celebrate your unique differences and qualities. A fruit salad is delicious precisely because each fruit maintains its own flavor. Okay, roadblocks to celebrating differences. Although there are many, 3 of the largest roadblocks to synergy are ignorance, cliques, and prejudice. Ignorance means you're clueless. You don't know what other people feel or believe or what they've been through. Ignorance often abounds when it comes to understanding people with disabilities, as Crystal Lee Helms explained in an article submitted to Mira, a Seattle area newspaper. My name is Crystal. I'm 5'1" with blonde hair and hazel eyes. Big deal, right? What if I told you I was deaf? In a perfect world, it shouldn't matter. We don't live in a perfect world, though, and it does matter. The moment someone knows I'm deaf, their whole attitude changes. Suddenly, they look at me differently. You'd be surprised how people act. The most common question I get is, how'd you become deaf? When I tell them, their reaction is as common to the question itself. Oh, I'm sorry, that's so sad. Whenever that happens, I simply look at them in the eye and calmly inform them, no, really, it's not sad at all. Don't apologize. No matter how good the intentions are, pity always makes my stomach churn. Not all attitudes put me on the defensive. Some are just plain funny. I was signing with my friends, and some dude I didn't know came up to ask me and started talking. What's it like being deaf? I don't know. What's it like being hearing? I mean, it isn't like anything, it just is. You see, the thing is this: if you meet someone who is deaf, don't write them off as disabled or disadvantaged. Instead, take the time to get to know them and find out what being deaf is all about. By doing this, you open yourself to understanding not only others, but more important, yourself. Okay, clicks. There's nothing wrong with hanging out with guys or girls you're comfortable with. It only becomes a problem when your group of friends becomes so exclusive that they reject everyone who isn't just like them. It's kind of hard to value differences in a close knit clique. Those on the outside feel like second class citizens, and those on the inside often suffer from superiority complexes. But breaking into a clique isn't hard. All you have to do is lose your identity, be assimilated, and become part of the Bourge collective. Prejudice. Have you ever felt stereotyped, labeled, or prejudged by someone because of your skin, your gender, your accent, or where you live? Isn't it a sick feeling? Although we're all created equal, unfortunately, we're not all treated equally. It's a sad fact that minorities and women often have additional hurdles to leap in life because of prejudice held by so many. The United States elected an African American president, but racism is still a huge problem. This is Natasha's experience. Racism can make succeeding tougher. When you're a black student in the top 10% of your class, maintaining a 4.0 grade point average, some people have a tendency to feel threatened. I just wish that people would realize that everyone, no matter where they're from or what color they are, deserves the same opportunities. As far as my friends and I are concerned, prejudice will always be a battle. We aren't born with prejudices, they're learned. Kids, for instance, are colorblind, but as they mature, they begin to pick up on the prejudice of others and form walls, as it is explained in Rodgers and Hammerstein's lyrics to a song from the old classic musical South Pacific. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made and people whose skin is a different rent shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. The following poem by an unknown source tells the sad tale of what happens when people prejudge one another. The Cold Within. 6 humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the stories told. Their dying fire in need of logs, the first man held his back. For the faces round the fire, he noticed one was black. The next man, looking across the way, saw one not of his church, and couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. The third one sat in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? The rich man sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store, and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from sight, for all he saw in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. The last man of this forlorn group did not accept for gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. Their logs held tight in death's still hand was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without, they died from the cold within. Okay, so your homework tonight is to reread this poem, The Cold Within, and I want you to analyze each stanza. What is this saying? What is this saying? What is this saying? So on and so forth. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stanzas. So you should have a minimum of 8 to 9 sentences of analyzation, of analysis. Okay. Number one, here I'll do with you, The Cold Within. 6 humans trapped by happenstance and bleak and bitter cold. Okay, so you have 6 people just happen to be trapped together and it's super cold outside. And each one of them had a piece of wood for the fire. Okay, so that is analysis 1. Now you've got 7 more to do. Actually, I'll go ahead and do the second one with you just so you get an idea again of how to do these because they're a little different from the first stanza. All right. Their dying fire in need of logs, the first man held his back. For the faces round the fire, he noticed one was black. Okay, so the fire was dying, and the first man refused to put his stick or his stick of wood on the fire because there was a black man across from him. Um, now here's so I've summarized what it says. Now here's where the analysis comes in. The first man held his back because the man across was black. However, did he not also harm himself in doing so? He absolutely 100% did, and he harmed everyone else around the fire because he did not put his stick of wood in the fire. He died, the black man died, and everybody else there died. Okay? All right, hope you understand. Hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I will see you tomorrow. Toodle-doo.